Hi everyone, welcome to my first video. I am not a professional baker and I actually only started baking 8 years ago. So for my first video, let me present to you my recipe for chocolate crinkles. You will need 1 1/2 cups of firmly packed brown sugar, 4 eggs, room temperature, 1 cup of cocoa powder. I'm using Dutch process, but you can also use the normal ones that you can buy from your local grocery store. 1/2 cup of oil, 1/4 cup of melted semi-sweet chocolate. You will also need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So guys, I am telling you, this is a very easy recipe to follow. In your bowl, just combine the brown sugar, eggs, cocoa powder, oil, and melted chocolate. Again, I am using Dutch processed cocoa oil because I want these crinkles to be darker in color. You can still use the cocoa powder that you can buy from your local grocery store, but maybe change the measurement and add 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of baking powder instead of just 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I'm also adding melted chocolate just because I want the crinkles to have a more chocolatey flavor. Make sure to scoop the chocolate from the bowl because you don't want to waste it, and they're really not that cheap. Now mix the ingredients using a whisk. My oven is actually preheating now to 325 Fahrenheit, and the reason why I'm preheating the oven now is because this recipe doesn't call for chilling the dough in the fridge. I will talk more about that later. For now, just start mixing. You may actually have to put some pressure when mixing. If you think that the mixture is not coming together, then that's totally fine because you're still just starting. Be patient with it because it is your baby after all. You know that you can stop mixing once you reach a smooth-like consistency. As you can see here, I'm just going to continue mixing until I reach that stage. You can actually also use a stand mixer fitted with a paddle attachment, but I've found that using your hands and some elbow grease will definitely reduce your chances of overmixing the batter, which will also result to tough crinkles. You want your crinkles to be soft and chewy. Once you see that the batter becomes smooth, stop mixing and start adding the rest of your ingredients. By this time, I've transferred to a rubber spatula because 1, it's going to be hard to mix the dry ingredients using a whisk. 2, in my opinion, at this stage, there is a higher chance that you'll overmix the batter with a whisk. And 3, a spatula will make it easier for you to scrape the sides and bottoms of the bowl. And continue mixing until well combined. Okay, you guys might be thinking, your batter's dry. And I can assure you that this is actually better. Well, at least in my opinion, because this recipe doesn't call for chilling the dough anymore. A lot of recipes would tell you to chill the dough first, but since this dough is not wet, it's actually not too sticky and will be or is really manageable to work with. Also, chilling the dough, according to some people, will help the dough spread less and will create wider cracks. But I don't like my crinkles to spread too much and get a bit flat, and the finished product that I've gotten from this recipe creates really nice cracks on top. And this is because I'm using another ingredient for my coating, which I'm going to talk about in a few seconds. Once you're done mixing and your arms are a bit tired, just let it rest at room temperature for at least 5 minutes. This is really optional and doesn't make much of a difference, but I just like resting for a bit. Once you're done, prepare your baking pan lined with parchment paper and your coating ingredients. I suggest that you only use 1/4 cup of granulated sugar and 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. In this video, I'm using 1/2 cup of both because I was also going to use or to make more crinkles. You might be asking why I'm using granulated sugar, and I'm going to tell you why. Remember one of the reasons why I don't bother chilling my dough anymore? Well, it's because I roll my dough in granulated sugar before I roll them in powdered sugar. Doing this will definitely help develop cracks all over the top. Also, it forms a protective layer during baking, which will also make the powdered sugar stick to the cookie. Some people might say that skipping granulated sugar without chilling the dough will result in the powdered sugar dissolving when baking, but I beg to differ. I've actually tried doing both, and yes, the crinkles without the granulated sugar were still pretty, and the powdered sugar did not dissolve because I've coated it generously with it, but it was very messy to eat. So it's really up to you if you want to use granulated sugar or not. The key here is these. 1. Lightly coat the dough with granulated sugar, and 2. Generously coat it with powdered sugar. Also, my ice cream scoop broke while I was doing this video, so I've decided to just use a spoon and eyeball it. Yes, I'm also using my hands, but I've made sure that they were clean. Also, the crinkles are not going to be sold, and that's why I've opted not to use gloves. I know I'm also messy, but I take comfort in knowing that this is homemade, so I don't have any issues with that. Once you're done coating all of your dough, bake them one pan at a time for 10 minutes only. Do not exceed unless you want the center of the crinkles to be more cake-like, then bake it for 12 minutes. I want mine soft and fudgy, and 10 minutes is just right using my oven. I know that ovens are not made the same, so you might have to experiment here. Just check and stop baking once the cookies are slightly crisp around the edges. You may be tempted to bake it longer because the middle is still soft, but trust me, they will harden a bit as they cool. Take the pan out of the oven, let it cool down for 3 minutes before you transfer it to a cooling rack to cool completely. Place the cookies in an airtight container once they've cooled, and you can store them at room temperature in the container, covered for about a week, and in the fridge for 2 weeks. Now I want to share you the picture of the crinkles that I made before without rolling the dough in granulated sugar, and now I want you to see the ones that I made today. It's moist in the inside, the powdered sugar does not fall out too much, it's not messy to eat, and it's super delicious. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Your likes and subscription will mean a lot. If you want to recreate your own crinkles using this recipe and will upload it on Instagram, please tag me. My username is @thisbexbakes, and see you next time.